Retro Future.
Hello everyone, this is Bansert of Radio Retro Future, and today I want to talk about Scrivener. It's a tool used to make manuscripts or other stories and documents. And today I want to do a little review on that, and also give you a bit of an explanation what can you expect. I want to also show you how I'm using it, while also kind of explaining my own writing process, especially when it comes to characters and locations and other things of lore creation, etc. And without further ado, let's go to Scrivener, shall we? So, what is it? What do we have here? Well, it might look like your typical text processor, like Microsoft Word. So, you don't need to get Scrivener for that. I mean, you can type in it, however there are some limitations to it. What you use Scrivener for, or at least what I use it for, is for organizing your documents. Now there's also some other benefits. For example, when I want to, let's say I want to print my file for my publisher, then I can, for some reason, you cannot see it on screen, however you have the option compile. Now, why is that called compile? And the reason for that is that Scrivener has a bunch of scripts in there as well. Compiling in programming terms, meaning that you are actually turning your code into a viable program. And that's basically what Scrivener does. And one of the things is that you have to understand how that works, how you make most use of that. Here I'll pull up a Word document that I have compiled with a Scrivener, and you have a field that you can fill in, and that will create the front page, as it were, that contains your address, the number of words, the title. This is all automatically generated. There is a field you need to fill in, of course. You also see like chapter 1. That is also an automatically generated field. I did not add that empty space here. That is basically what Scrivener considers to be like an industry standard in publishing. And so they added all those things in. You don't have to add all those things in manually. This is especially useful because a publisher or anyone else who is working with text, they want like their text as clean, as free of any strange macros, etc., formatting as possible. And Scrivener essentially helps you with that. That you, as a person like me who has no experience with publishing, basically knows how to fill in, such information and provide a work like that that's suitable for a publisher. And for example, empty spaces, empty lines are marked with a hashtag. So that means it's an empty space. If you have multiple empty spaces in your document, it will automatically put in hashtag, hashtag, hashtag. Again, this is especially for the editors very useful information. So this is all automatically generated, like the numbering, the title on top of the pages, the page numbering. How do we make sure that Scrivener does all of this work for you and you don't have to make corrections afterward? So what are we looking at? This is the first view, and like I said, it's an organizing tool. These blue icons, they are folders. If you know how Microsoft Windows works, you know how to use this software. Before I used Scrivener, I made documents separately for all my chapters. Really manages really well, otherwise you'll lose it. Scrivener kind of creates this workflow for you. So all your files are basically included in your own, in its own environment. Of course, these are a special type of files. Not all word processors can read them. You may need to compile them. I think there are other options as well. You can also export them, and then they do. This is for sharing. That is one of my major problems with this program. The lack of sharing capabilities. That and the fact you cannot integrate external word spelling checkers. I am a big fan of Grammarly. I'm a dyslexic. I'm lost without it. And yeah, unfortunately you cannot integrate this. But I'm going to talk about it a little later. So one of the biggest benefits is really the organizing. So it has basic templates that you can make. For example, I can open a new project. Well, there is a tutorial. I have not used tutorial everything. I I learned by myself. That's how I prefer using such programs. When I really want to know something, I'm go look for it. Because the thing with all these programs, there are so many options in there, and you'll probably never use them, and it's easier to just learn with the things that you are discovering yourself than it is to go straight into, oh, all these options. So, or at least that's how I prefer to do it. Well, again, you can make a blank project. You can make a novel with parts. That's what I've done, I think. You can also like do short stories, even comic book strips. I'm very interested in that one because I want to do more with that. We're gonna just do a short story. We're gonna name it Test. And voila, look at that. We also get like a complete template that also tells us like, okay, this is how, you can make it, all the options that are there, but it explains compiling, how you do that, making changes. There are some really interesting things on that as well. Sample documents. Here you have like a sample story where it shows you immediately like, okay, this is where your name and address should be done. Font matters. That is where you have to insert all your address information. And these things, those are like the programs. If you would compile this, I think I can compile this. Let's try that. Let's see what happens. There we go. This is a test. If I am correct, we can also send it straight to the printer. We can do like all these file formats. Also ebooks. So that's also ideal for self-publishing. We're gonna do Word. We're gonna do compile. Let's call this again test. And here we go. Here we have our test. Here we have our name. Well, your address. I did not change that. It has 4 words. Incredible test, because that's the name of the project. Well, I did not fill it in. And here we have the scene. So, but let's have a look at the manuscript I made and what this will look like in practice. To activate the programming, we call all these files our chapter. This here is a scene. I can add them like you would add a document to Windows. Like we're gonna do new text. Oh, and there we go. This is a scene. Most of them are scenes. You can make them anything. You can basically also notes, and then you can say when you compile, say, I don't want to print this. These are just notes. I would not recommend this. However, one of the fun things about this program is also version control. A version, I mean, like let's say you first create a first draft, then you move on to the next chapter, and later on you're gonna rewrite it. You're gonna make a revised draft. However, let's say you're gonna make certain changes and you don't want to lose that information. You never know what it can be good for. So what you can do, you can go to Documents, take Snapshot. You've got to even get a photo, sound, and there we go. Here we have title untitled. Yes, I suggest you leave them untitled as well. You can call them Scene 1. Does not really matter. And yeah, so we have the same text right here. Can select it, you can copy it, you can drag. As you see, you can clearly drag with this stuff. Yeah, it also says revised draft. What do they mean with revised draft? Well, you can select the text, use the drop down menu, and you can add all manner of other metadata. If you go to the folder again, you get like this overview of files. I'm gonna move this to the trash. I'm gonna move this to the trash. Oh, you can also duplicate if you deem that necessary, but I wanted to move it to the trash. There we go. So it's also very easy to clean up. You can make status like this. Now it's a revised draft. You can say, well, I'm gonna make this the final draft. So this is the revised draft. If I'm gonna take a snapshot again, and now we have a final draft. Now we're gonna delete this one. Yes, we're gonna remove the final draft. A very useful thing. So you've got version control, which is a very good one. Like I made a spelling error here. I now notice Pendleton Park is supposed to be spelled that way. So yeah, and now if I do compare, here you go. Now you see that I changed Pendleton Park. So, and this is a very useful tool when you send like a document to somebody else. This works when both you and your editors or your friends who are going to do your proofreading have the program, otherwise this will not work. However, what other option, what you can do is that you send like a Word document to your friend. Your friend then makes the changes in that Word document. Then you paste it as, let's say, the next draft, and then you do compare, and then you'll see like all the changes your friend has made, and then you can say, well, I agree or don't agree. And of course you can also do the rollback option. Yes, let's take a snapshot, and there we go. Now it should say Pendleton Park again with EL. Yeah, there we go. Now it has been changed back. So, version control. I never heard anyone talk about this before in other reviews that I saw. For some reason it does not say which draft it is. That is strange. But it does say the time that I did it, so that's good. And, of course, save. There we go. I think there is an autosave feature built into the system, but I am not sure. Now you also see that weaponized is being recognized as a wrong word. That's the spelling checker. Spelling checker of Scrivener is very limited. I doubt to call it decent, because like it's often, especially with verbs, it does not recognize words. Like another verb it had problem was explain. It didn't recognize the word explain, so we're gonna do like learn spelling. What I do, because I cannot use Grammarly in the program itself, what I do, I often copy paste it to Word or some other program that does allow Grammarly to be used. You know, make the correction there and then paste it back in. You can like select everything, and then you can. I should do paste and match style, so you know that everything will be the same. When you compile, you get like an option to say, well, in what style do you want it, and then everything should be the same as well. So yeah, you have got to experiment a couple with that. Notice like, oh, what is going wrong in the version that I made, and correct it here. One of the things that I learned was that, you know, if you want like the chapters to appear in the name the files that chapter. All the scenes you will add to this. Let me see. I've got a chapter that is arranged like this. You see here, I have... Oh, it does not grow bigger. That's unfortunate. Anyway, you see here all these test tubes. Those are icons that I chose. What I mean for that, for myself, this is only for myself, to indicate that these are like revised drafts. And when you're compiling, say, well, do not compile these sections. So you got to be careful that you turn off all the files. I'll show you. That's probably an easier idea. Let's do compile. And here you see like all the files I want to see compiled. In some cases, I do want certain scenes to be compiled. And all the others, let's see here, the ones with the test tubes in front of them, I turned off. They won't appear. So you can like select at any time which files you want to be included and which one you do not. Now another thing we can do is I can select this name of the main character. I mean, I can learn the spelling, which for some reason I did not do. I don't know why I did not do that before. And then I can link it to a... I said I can link it to a... Yeah, that's something... That's annoying. You cannot click on these in this. You need to see, like I have characters here. I'm now looking around my camera, by the way. I have characters here, places. These are all files that I created in a similar way. I created scenes under the character heading, and I can like link it to this. Now now we see in the top frame. We see the character thing. Now you see it's very empty. What I do, for example, behaviorisms. Let's see if I've got a better example. I don't fill these things in. I fill them in while I write the story, and instead I write the stuff I do. Then I copy paste them into the character file. So instead of, you know, adding, oh, my character has like, oh, this color eyes and all that useful information. Instead, I copy paste you know, things that says something about their description or their behavior or mannerisms. I paste them in directly from the story. That's how I do that, and that's how I create my characters. I write my characters. The same goes for the physical appearance of places. Let's see, do I have, yes, there we go. Here I have a place describing the Thames estuary and what that looks like. And again, I use like examples from the story itself. So I fill them in as I write the story instead of the other way around. So like here I have like a lot of descriptions of a place called Druid Isle, a very important place in the world with a lot of details that I put in because I found it very important that the reader like really gets immersed in this environment. So it says a lot about how, but it also includes, very important, it also includes the character's observations about that place. So it's not just a description of what the place looks like, but also like this is what the characters feel about it. But there's some interesting things like sounds and smells. I remember one writer I had on my workshop saying, yeah, a lot of people don't talk about sounds and smells. Those things are often neglected. So I'm glad they added that in here. And I must say, like, I know that Scrivener has like a very active community, so it gets a lot of feedback, and it's very clear that they have like added a lot of the remarks in here. And like I said, you don't have to use all these functions. You don't have to fill in all these. It's there. I use it when I think needed. There are some things. Like, it's with any tool. You need to learn how to use it. You know what a hammer is for, but to use a hammer effectively, that's a whole different thing. And that is only something that you learn with experience. Well, a lot of people feel that with software in particular, everything should be done for them. That's not how software works. It's tools. And you gotta know what you gotta use tools for. Now, I find it very disappointing that I cannot use Grammarly. I find it disappointing I cannot share it directly with people like I do in, let's say, Google Drive documents, where I can ask people, hey, here's the document, and they can add like their modifications right in, and you can say yes or no. I mean, I understand because this is on your PC. You don't want random people to have access to your PC. That's asking for problems. I think there are options, but it involves making your own FTP servers and stuff. I mean, this shouldn't be too difficult. I actually wanted to try it. I forgot. I now realized, oh yes, I wanted to create an FTP server. The good news is that I've got a licensed copy now, but I used the month trial that they offer you, and it gives you good time to get a feeling for the program and determine for yourself if this is something you can use. And I'm very happy that I have it, especially at the moment that I have to make copies for publishers. And today I also wrote to an agent, so I'm very curious. And everything is organized, so you can quickly look for, oh, I want to go to chapter 16 now. Oh, I want to go and look at chapter 19. Oh, I realized I have a wrong name here. It also like has like the typical search function of find and replace. In case you're not familiar yet with that function, it basically allows you to find any word and automatically replace it with anything you want. Otherwise than that, it's a very useful tool that will save you a lot of effort, if not for those two weaknesses. So yeah, let me know if you've got questions. Let me know if you want me to talk about like certain strategies or things like that. I talked a little bit about how I do my character creation. So yeah, I hope you found this useful, guys. I'm gonna log off. It's really hot. I'll keep you posted on the progress on the book, about the whole publishing adventure I have embarked on yesterday. And yeah, I hope you'll have a good week. And with that said, don't forget to like this video and comment and subscribe and all that good stuff. And with that being said, I hope to see you all soon. Proper videos, I hope to make more of those soon as well. And with that said, make things your way. Why does it not recognize a word as repurposed? Like, it's not that I made a spelling error. Like, here, this is what it proposes. Repurposed. Who writes repurposed like that?